my name like it's medicine, but baby, you the one. Got me dancing in your chaos like I don't know the tune. You pull me close, call it healing, while you're breaking every scene. I taste the love inside your lies, it's sweeter than it seems. You don't love me, you need me. There's a difference, can't you see? I'm the mirror you've been dodging, now you're stuck inside of me. I'm your sugar on the night, soft touch, ruin your life. Say it gentle, say it nice, while I cut you with the truth twice. You like pain dressed up in lace, call it love, I call it chase. You don't want me, you want the fight. I'm your sugar on the knife. You get high off my forgiveness, like it's something I owe. Every time I start to leave you, that's when you love me the most. Look at you, so convincing, playing fragile, playing sweet. But I learned your favorite language, and it's control in a heartbeat. You don't miss me, you panic when I take my energy. I was never yours to hold, just addicted to the feeling. I'm your sugar on the knife, soft touch, ruin your life. Say it gentle, say it nice, while I cut you with the truth twice. You like pain dressed up in lace, call it love, I call it chase. You don't want me, you want the fight. I'm your sugar on the night. Oh, you shaking now. You don't like it when I see you clear. You liked me better when I was confused, didn't you? Tell me again how much you love me, without the chaos this time. Oh wait, you can. No more pretty lies, no more lullabies. I was your favorite illusion. Now I'm wide awake, and you can't relate to a woman that won't stay broken. I'm your sugar on the knife, soft touch, ruin your life. Say it gentle, say it nice, while I cut you with the truth twice. You like pain dressed up in lace, call it love, I call it chase. You don't want me, you want the fight. I'm your sugar on the night. I'm your tonight. On the night. On your night. Steps off, baby. This ain't just a vibe, it's a sanctuary. You just walked into the love palace. Welcome to a daily dose of Dee. Wrap yourself in satin, truth. This love ain't rushed, it's velvet smooth. Silk on your spirit, rose in your mouth. Let me show you what healing's really about. Ooh, she don't play with pleasure, nah. Only pours it where it's earned. Let it burn slow. A daily dose of Dee. Let the love run deep and free. One touch and you'll believe. She's the calm, she's the heat, she's the peace you need. Here in the love palace, where even broken ships sail smooth. Anchor down, baby, daily dose of Dee. Your prescription to feel seen. No refills, just show up and receive. Let your ships drift into healing seas. We don't chase waves, we ride them. She don't beg, she just glows.
Sorry about that, everyone. Before we get into today's episode, I want to take a moment to share something important. The topic we're discussing today, trauma bonding, is not directed to any person or situation. This is something that came to my attention, and through my own research, I came to realize that even I experience forms of trauma bonding in my own life. This is a sensitive subject, and I want to be mindful of that. So please know this conversation is for awareness, growth, and healing, not judgment. I placed a trigger warning on this episode because some of the content may be emotionally triggering. If you feel this topic may be too heavy for you right now, I understand. I encourage you to take care of yourself first and skip this episode if needed. And if anything we discuss today brings up strong emotions or you feel overwhelmed, please don't sit with that alone. Reach out for support. You could contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1 800 799 7233 or text START, capital START, to 88788 for immediate confidential help. Your mental health and emotional well being matters. Always choose what's best for you.
Yeah. Mm. Breath, stay right there.
Love shouldn't
Say
feel like confusion.
like it
It
already
shouldn't feel like walking on eggshells
and
just to
don't
keep the peace.
like I don't feel
Somewhere
right through you.
between I miss you
You get
and I
close,
deserve
like I
better.
feel something real.
We
Make me
lose
soft,
ourselves
like you
trying
scared
to
to feel.
hold on to
Yeah,
people
you don't love me, you
who
need
only
me.
show up in
There's a
pieces.
difference in the way you
And
pull
then
me
we
so
call it love
close. I'm your
when
shadow
really
on the night.
it's
So
survival
close, cut you
dressed
soft.
up as
Say
connection.
sweet things, say it
Welcome
night.
to Daily
I'll
Dose of
tell
Dee.
you what you know. You like pain, dressed up clean. Call it love in between. You don't want me, you want control.
Grand rising, grand afternoon, or grand evening, depending on what time of day you're watching Daily Dose of D. I am your host, Goddess of Love. How's everyone doing this evening? I hope everyone has had a wonderful Wednesday, hump day, wind down Wednesday. Today here at Daily Dose of D, this is going to be our Wellness Wednesday today, people. Yes, it is. You see the trigger warning below, so I please want you to heed to that. If if it's going to trigger you, I understand. But like I said at the beginning, this was something that was brought to my attention, and I really wanted to talk about it. And to the person that brought this to my attention, my heartfelt appreciation and my prayers are with you. Okay? So, with that being said, let's go into the word of the day at Daily Dose of D here on Wellness Wednesday. We're going to talk about trauma bonding. Trauma, the definition is the mind and body's response to an overwhelming, distressing event or experience that exceeds a person's ability to cope, leaving an emotional, psychological scar. Bonding, the natural psychological and emotional process of forming close ties, attachment, and connections with others, creating a sense of safety and belonging. So today's subject, we're diving into a topic that is often misunderstood, but it's incredibly powerful, the trauma bond. This is a heavy subject, so before we get into this, do me a favor. Let's take a deep breath and let it out. I want you to find a comfortable space and let's go ahead and explore this together. So before we get into the trauma bonding, you know how I like to do it here at Daily Dose of Dee. Let's slow this down and really understand the words separately. Once again, the word trauma comes from the Greek word traumia, which literally means wound. Not just physical wounds, but emotional and psychological ones too. These are the experiences that leave a mark on your mind, your nervous system, and your sense of safety. Now, the word bonding, that comes from the Old English word bondia, meaning to bind or to tie together. Bonding is about connection, attachment, closeness, and it's what links people emotionally. So when you put those two words together, trauma, bonding, it's not just being close, it's being tied to someone through pain, through cycles of hurt, through emotional wounds that keep reopening instead of healing. Now let's talk about the core components of trauma bond. A trauma bond is built through cycles. It's not constant pain because if it was, most people would just leave. It's the back and the forth. It's the highs feel like love, the lows feel like heartbreak, and the confusion in between is what people stuck. What is what keeps people stuck. Excuse me, y'all. There's usually a power imbalance. One person holds control emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even financially. And the other person starts to depend on them for validation, even when they're the source of the pain. There's also emotional dependency. You begin to feel like you need that person, even when they're hurting you. You start craving the same person who broke you. And then there's the cycle. Tension builds, something happens, there's a conflict or harm. Then comes the apology, the affection that I'll do better, and the cycle repeats. So let's be clear, family. A trauma bond is a specific type of attachment that develops out of a cycle of punishment and reward. It is a biological and emotional hook that makes it incredibly difficult to leave an unhealthy situation. So, what is it called when two people bond over shared trauma? Sometimes that's called trauma bonding in a broader sense. but it can also be referred as co traumatization or even emotional enmeshment, where boundaries get blurred and pain becomes the glue holding the relationship together. True trauma bonding is not about sharing a past experience. Let me say this again to y'all. True trauma bonding is not about sharing a past experience. It's about the bond formed between a victim and an abuser. Trauma bonding is about the bond formed between a victim and an abuser. Now, let's talk about something very important: intermittent reinforcement. The abuser isn't bad all the time, they provide flashes of intense affection, apology, or kindness, followed by periods of mistreatment. This creates a chemical roller coaster in the brain where you are constantly seeking the next hit of kindness to soothe the pain of the previous hurt. This is when love, attention, and affection are given inconsistently. One day, they're amazing. The next day, they're distant or cold. That unpredictability actually creates a stronger attachment. It's the same psychological pattern that keeps people hooked on gambling. You keep hoping that the good version of them will come back. Mhm. Then there's a psychological response where hostages or abuse victims develop positive feelings, empathy, or loyalty toward their captors or abuser. It acts as a survival mechanism in a traumatic situation. And this is characterized by fear of authority, cognitive dissonance, and bonding with the predator, often emerging from coerced dependence and perceived small mercy, which happens in abusive situations where a person develops emotional attachment or loyalty to the person harming them. It's a survival response, family. Your mind tries to make sense of the pain by creating a connection. Now let's bring this all together in real life. This creates what we call dysfunctional attachment. So that means the way you connect to someone is unhealthy, unstable, and rooted in fear instead of security. There are different types of dysfunction attachment. Some people become anxious, constantly needing reassurance, fearing abandonment. Others become avoidant. They pull away and they shut down emotionally. And sometimes people swing between the both of these. Mhm. You start seeing behavior indicators, constantly checking on the person, making excuses for their behavior, feeling anxious when they're not around, but actually drained when they are. This causes The causes often go deeper than the relationship itself. Now, family, I want you to keep this in mind because we tend to put this trauma bonding on romantic relationships. But I want you to apply this. And this is what was eye opening to me when I applied this to friendships and, yes, even family. Like I said, the causes often go deeper than the relationship itself. It could be childhood wounds, past abandonment, low self worth, and the impact. You lose your sense of self, your confidence drops, your emotional stability becomes tied to someone else's action. And within that same space, trauma bonding often overlaps with what feels like an addictive relationship. It feels like a craving. You know, it's not good for you, but you keep going back, like them sweets, them cookies, cakes, or that caffeine rush, right? The key characteristics include emotional high and low, intense attachment, and difficulty leaving even when you know you should. These signs are very clear. You feel stuck, confused, emotionally exhausted, yet still attached. The causes come from unresolved trauma, fear of being alone, or even believing that this is what love is supposed to feel and look like. Whew, I know this just hit deep, like real deep, y'all. If you're sitting here thinking, why does this sound like my life or someone I know? Just know you are not alone. So let's take a second here and breathe again. Go ahead and grab some water or your beverage or wherever you need to relax yourself because we're about to go even deeper into this. So if you're still here, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back right after these messages.
A trauma bond is knowing this relationship is bad for you, but still wanting to hear from them or see them to see if things have changed. You end up saying sorry for things they did because you don't want to lose or fight with this person. You have a longing or attachment to them. You take bare minimum and you forget what has happened in the past because they act so in love with you in the moment and they want you back, but then they don't want you anymore. It's like an addiction, just one hit and it calms your anxiety when you hear from them, see them or know about them.
You tapping, you boys. Yeah. Got it deep. Yeah. We asking one question tonight. Where the love?
Where's the love?
Is it him or is it us? He say she tripping, she say he don't show enough. Where's the love while we keep switching it up? When it won't honesty, men just won't trust.
Where's the love?
Everybody talking tough, but when the heart break, everybody hush.
Where's the love?
Maybe we both messed up.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Where is the Love? We're glad you tuned in.
Blessings on blessings. We appreciate you for sharing your time with us
You want
today.
peace but don't give respect. Then wonder why my attitude, next. You say I'm emotional, I say you cold. You say relax, I say be bold. You say loyalty, I say time. Love ain't words if you never show sign.
Now he looking confused like,
What did I do?
now she looking right back like,
You know the truth,
she looking right back like,
You know the truth.
yo.
Where is the love?
Is it him or is it us? He say she tripping, she say he don't show enough. Where is the love? Why we keep switching it up? Women want honesty, men just want trust.
Where is the love?
Everybody talking tough, but when the heart break, everybody hush.
Where is the love?
Maybe we both messed up. Tune in tonight, let's talk about us.
He said, I'm working hard just to...
Welcome back, family. Welcome back. Make sure you tune in tomorrow evening 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 5 p.m. Mountain Time for Where's the Love At by hosted by Big Mouthpiece and the one and only Gotta See a Love. Yes, the Where is the Love? This will be our second episode. Come join us. You'll really enjoy it. So before we get started back on this subject again, right? Because here at Daily Dose, we're talking about something real. We're going to talk about this trauma bonding. So let me do this again for us. So we're going to go into a little deeper about trauma bonding. When we look at the scene of a trauma bond, you know what we see? We see dysfunction. This is what they call dysfunctional attachment at its core. This is the connection built on instability rather than safety. The core types of attachment often stem from your childhood patterns, such as anxious, anxious or avoidant styles. This is where a person learns that love is something that must be earned or fought for. So, some key behavior indicators include a constant or consistent, you feel like you're walking on eggshells feeling, justifying the other person's harmful behavior to your friends, family, romantic partner, and feeling unable to function without the other person's validation. Now, remember, I wanted you to take this trauma bonding and apply it to all those relationships, not just the romantic ones, the friendships and the family. Okay? Because this dysfunctional attachment is caused by a deep seated fear of abandonment, and it results in a total loss of your self esteem and a distorted sense of reality. Let me say that again. This is caused the dysfunctional attachment that is a scene of the trauma bond is seated in a fear of abandonment that is a result of a total loss of self esteem and distorted sense of reality. Within the same scene, mhm, we can find the addictive relationship. Now, this right here is characterized by an exception with a partner or a person and the inability to break away despite knowing the relationship is destructive. The signs are clear. You experience actual withdrawal symptoms, excuse me, like physical pain or even intense anxiety when you try to leave that relationship. The causes are often rooted in a way our brain processes dopamine during that good moments of the cycle that feel good, right? Underlying factors usually include a history of unmet emotional needs, what makes the high points of the relationships feel like the only source of worth in your life. Now, let's talk about what this really turns into over time. See, a trauma bond can become a manipulative bond. Let me say that again. A trauma bond can become a manipulative bond. This means one person uses emotional tactics like guilt, fear, love bombing, silence, and they use this to control the other person. And sometimes it's not even obvious at first. Then it shifts into toxic dependency. You start feeling like you can't function without them. Like your happiness, your peace, your identity is tied to whether they stay or leave. And here's the truth, Love Palace family, it's not love. It's not. It's attachment mixed with pain. So listen, family. If you made it this far with me, I am proud of you. For real. Because facing this and talking about this kind of truth is not easy. So stay with me. I'm about to close this out in a powerful way right after this message.
I had one love that kept hurting me, and I still missed it when it left. That's when I realized toxic love don't feel like peace, it feel like a hit. Your body start craving the chaos.
Here's why it feel addictive. Your brain start confusing anxiety with love, so when they pull away, you chase. Rule 1, stop checking their page, stop rereading text, and give yourself 72 hours with no contact.
Rule 2, make a list of what it costs you. Sleep, confidence, money, time, and replace the hit with something solid. Gym, work, family, therapy, whatever keeps you grounded, because real love don't make you withdraw from yourself.
I start on left bare feet and wet sand. Ocean knows my name before I ever speak back. Salt in the skin, wind in my hair. Standing where to meet sky, I'm aware. I look up once, heaven responds. White light moves through, truth carries on. I don't walk alone, never did. Body and clothes keeps me for what I skip. He don't say much, just stands his ground. Every near miss, he was around. I'd only pray to touch her tonight. I carry it all. I carry it fine.
Welcome back, Love Palace family. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Blended Healing Realms. You need some healing? You want to know where your ancestors are telling you or how you're feeling? All type of things. Tap into Blended Healing. The name speaks for itself. Y'all feel me? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification button so you know when she's going live, okay? So, we're going to go ahead and get back into this discussion because we're talking about trauma bonding. This is in love, and we're breaking trauma bonds. So, I want to talk about one more bond that I feel is very important to talk about. Okay? And that's the a manipulative bond. This is when this is where one person uses the other's vulnerabilities to keep them tied in the relationship. Don't forget, it's all those ships, okay? This often involves gaslighting, where the abuser makes you doubt your own memory or your sanity, further strengthening the bond because you feel you need them to interpret reality for you, which leads directly into toxic dependence, a state where your emotional well being is entirely reliant on someone who is actually causing you distress. It's a cycle where the person who breaks your heart is the only one you feel can fix it. Now, we went through this discussion And I talked about the different forms of trauma bond. But how can we actually break this? Because that's I want to give something to show. There is hope in breaking trauma bond. Even though it's not easy, it is possible. Let me say that again. Breaking a trauma bond is not easy, but it's possible. The first thing I want you to do, and may I offer, you have to recognize it. You have to be honest with yourself about what you're experiencing. hmm Honesty with yourself. Recognize what you're experiencing. Because if you can't do that, it's going to be real hard because you're in self denial. Then comes creating distance, going no contact or low contact. You see it's either going no contact or low contact to allow that chemical addiction to the cycle fade. That might mean limiting contact or completely cut ties, cut ties, cut ties. Shout out to Anthony Q, which can feel extremely hard but necessary. You have to rebuild your sense of self. hmm This means reconnecting with who you are outside of that person. Let me say that again. You have to rebuild your sense of self, reconnecting with who you are outside of that person, your interests, your voice, your worth. Support is important. Talk to someone you trust. Therapy can help unpack those deeper patterns if necessary. You must practice radical acceptance. Acknowledge that the person is not going to change, regardless of how much love you give them. Building a reality log. I like this one. Right where you write down the bad, where you write down the bad moment can help you stay grounded when you start to romanticize the relationship. And most importantly, if you need to, seek professional support to rebuild your sense of self. And if you're in an abusive situation, yes, if you are in an abusive situation or feel unsafe, please reach out for help. You can contact the National Violence Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or text START to 88788. This is available 24/7. And this information, this hotline is completely confidential. I'm going to keep this right here for those that might need it. And I'm also going to put this in the chat as well, okay? All right. I want you to know that healing is not instant, it's a process. But every step you take away from that cycle is a step toward your peace.
Yeah. Breath, stay right there.
Let me leave you with this word today, Love Palace family. You called it love because that felt easier than calling it what it really was. Pain. hmm Pain with a familiar face. Yes. You called it loyalty because somewhere inside you, you believe staying made you strong. That holding on, no matter how much it hurt, meant you were real. But let's be honest, how many times did you have to shrink just to keep the peace? How many times did you silence your intention because you didn't want to be alone? How many nights did you lie awake replaying conversations, trying to figure out how you could love better while they gave you less? See, trauma doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It shows up as comfort in chaos, as butterflies that feel like anxiety, as a connection that feels deep but drains you dry. And the hardest truth, you can miss someone and still need to let them go. You can love someone and still choose yourself because love, real love, doesn't require you to abandon who you are just to be accepted. You're not crazy. You were responding to inconsistency. You were not too much. You were asking for the bare minimum for someone who never ready to give it. And yeah, walking away might feel like withdrawal, like your body is craving something. Your spirit knows it's poison, but that's what breaking a trauma bond feels like. It feels like grief. It feels like confusion. It feels like learning how to breathe again without someone that once consumed you. And I know part of you still hopes they'll change, that one day they'll wake up and finally love you the way you deserved from the start. But healing is realizing you don't need to wait for that day to choose yourself today. Healing is uncomfortable. It's choosing peace over familiarity. It's choosing clarity over confusion. It's choosing solitude over suffering. And slowly, you start to remember who you are before the pain. You start to rebuild the parts of you that were neglected, the voice that was silent, the confidence that was questioned. You start to understand that love was never supposed to feel like survival. So today, family, let this be the moment you stop romanticizing what broke you. Let this be the moment you release the version of them that only existed in your hope. Let this be the moment you forgive yourself for staying longer than you should have. Because you don't know then what you don't know now. And now that you don't go back, you grow forward. You choose better. You choose peace. You choose you. And that is where the real healing begins.
Funny how that's when you start to stay. You adjust every time I change, but you never try to break your ways.
Yes, everybody. I want to thank you for joining me today on this subject of trauma bonding. I hope that this resonated with those that need it. I didn't mean to trigger anyone. And like I stated before, this was a conversation, something that was brought to my attention. And I wanted to talk about it and help people or the person that needed this information and help them release and help them heal. Now I know y'all might be sitting back and saying, God is still love. You did the word of the day, but you didn't do the quote of the day. And it was on purpose because I wanted to do it here at the end. Okay? But once again, I want to thank everybody for coming to Daily Dose of Dee. I'm going to close you out with my quote of the day. And I want you to know that you are the first person that matters. You take care of you, heal you. Because the true love is inside you. And once you find that true love, it'll resonate with others to find more true love. Y'all feel me? Shout out to the replay game. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification button for Daily Dose of Dee and anything that happens at the Love Palace. And here is your quote of the day on Wellness Wednesday. Trauma bonding is not love. It's an addiction to the familiar pain of the cycle, betrayal, confusion, and temporary healing begins when you break the spell from God is still love. Peace and love to everyone, and I will see you all real soon.
If you think that these people, these narcissistic, toxic people, are ignorant to their devices, I want you to think again, because they know what they're doing. They know they are manipulating you. They know they are using you. They know that they only care about what they can get from you. And they will push the envelope only so far. And once they start to notice, you know what, maybe I've gone a little bit too far, they'll dangle a carrot again. They'll give you a hug. They'll take you out to your favorite restaurant. They'll buy you something that you love. They'll shower you with a little bit of praise, and then you're hooked again. You're like that gambler at the slot machine who just got that dopamine hit, and now it starts to fade again, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to stay in it. I'm going to stay in it because I know that hit is coming again. And my friend, this is addictive. And this trauma bond needs to be broken. And this is not a time to start making justifications for their behaviors or thinking that maybe you've got some love connection that is so rare outside of anything that anybody.
Don't even hold me right. Old jobs, old versions, old agreements that cost me my life. I learned how to survive anywhere, even places I shouldn't stay. But I don't need to suffer anymore, just to prove I'll be okay. If it pulls me out of alignment, if it keeps me in my head, if it asks me to betray myself, I know what has to end. Release what no longer fits my life. Release what tightens when I breathe inside. Release the roles, the fear, the obligation. If it costs me peace, I release. Some love was built on effort, not ease, not flow. Some loyalty was just a habit I outgrew years ago. I stayed because I was grateful, not because I was fulfilled. But gratitude don't mean forever when my spirit's standing still. I don't need permission to choose myself again. If it drains instead of feeds me, that's where the truth begins. no longer fits my soul. Release the need to carry it all. Release the guilt, the grind, the expectation. If it costs me peace, I release. This is not lost. This is liberation. This is me trusting my own navigation. I bless what was, I free what's done. Release is how I choose myself again. That can't come with me. Release, release anything that dims my frequency. Release, release jobs, people, places, versions. I don't fight what's complete. I release, release the weight, release the need, release the life that isn't me. I release, I release. Felt love like she don't just love, she heals and keeps. Let go, let flow. Daily dose of Dee. In the land free. In the love palace, ships dock even key. Yeah, we guide the tide. God is deep. Whispering back when your heart needs reminding. D is divine, D is daily, D is love, a daily